afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Hong Kong Wine Dine Festival 2020 online masterclasses, Wine and Spirits Talk, organized by the Hong Kong Tourism Board. A lot of people know that Bordeaux in France is a region that is rich in fine wines, since a lot of the chateaus there have a huge history, and therefore comparatively the prices are more expensive than wines from any other nearby areas. However, today, we are going to shake up that thought by introducing you to New Wave Bordeaux. These wines are well priced and very much worth tasting. Today, we are honored to have invited Hong Kong's global wine critic, Mr. James Suckling, to share his insight. Please welcome Mr. James Suckling, Hong Kong's global wine critic, and also from his Wine Central head sommelier, Mr. Sean Chung. How are you guys?
Great.
Thank you so much for joining us. And I would also like to take this chance to welcome our online friends who have bought our tasting kit to have a tasting journey with us together. Hi, everybody. Please give everybody a big wave. Hi, good afternoon. Now, if anybody would like to have a question during the wine tasting, please do join our Q&A session at the end of the program, or you can send your questions to us via the chat box. James will try to answer all of your questions. Today, the theme of this masterclass is New Wave Bordeaux. So without further ado, please give a big hand to welcome James as he will start to introduce the wines from the tasting kit.
Thanks, thank you. Well, listen, we have three beautiful wines, white, rosé, and red. The first is Le Blanc Sec Suduiraut Bordeaux Blanc 2019. The second is Chateau Giscourt Bordeaux Le Rosé de Giscourt 2019. And finally, Chateau Le Ray Castillon Côte de Bordeaux Les Arguelleuses 2019.
This is truly exciting. Now, for those who would still want to purchase our tasting kit, please visit our official website, masterclasses.discoverhongkong.com. Do purchase them all before they are all gone. Now, I'd like to first of all come to our online friends for our questions for today. What do you think of when you hear the word Bordeaux? Do you think expensive wines, high-class wine? If you agree with me, please raise your hand. All right, I got Lewis with, almost everybody except from Ken Wong. You're the only one who don't think expensive. All right, let's see if we can shake up that thought and that perception today. And then coming to James, I also have a question for you. I know a lot of people are also curious to find out, how did you become a wine critic?
Well, really, it was mostly by luck. I was a daily journalist until I was about 24. And then I started working with an American magazine called The Wine Spectator. And then just tasted loads of wine, moved to Paris, then to London, then to Italy, and finally here in Hong Kong. I'm a resident here, and I've been here for 8 years. But along the way, I've tasted 225,000 wines.
Wow.
Mostly by myself. That doesn't count what I drank. But it's been a great ride, and met so many people and found so many amazing wines along the way. And I've really enjoyed just sharing my knowledge and having a great following, and just keeps me going every day.
Wow, that is truly impressive. Before James starts sharing his insight on our three focused Bordeaux wines today from the tasting kit, I know, James, you have prepared a very special treat for us by bringing us a virtual tour to the three chateaux.
Yeah, so you're going to see how I normally go, travel the world and taste. This is in Bordeaux. I go twice a year, tasting hundreds of wines blind like that in a central place with my team. But then I visit dozens of chateaux, like Suduiraut, the producer of the first white you're going to taste. There's the owner, tasting with him, talking, getting information about the new vintage or the new wine. Then also maybe going out and visiting the vineyards and just getting lots of information. Some nice grapes there of Semillon. There it is, the Le Blanc Sec de Suduiraut, which we'll be tasting and drinking. Now Giscourt, this is 9 a.m. in the morning. This is where they make the rosé. They're better known for making world-class structured reds. and I'll be tasting a young Bordeaux 9 in the morning. I love wine in the morning, and look at that, talking to the guy, it's so cool.
Wow.
Just getting the info. There's the rosé, such a beautiful Chateau, but you're gonna love this really fresh rosé. And then finally the red's made at Vignoble Quai, and beautiful vineyards there. The vineyards are actually in Côte de Castillon. There's the owner, Peter Kwok, a fellow Hong Konger. He's the mastermind, lots of chateaus. And his son, Howard, there in the background with his French team, runs the day-to-day with his father. Look, they're hanging out, talking about the vineyards, and they're really a joy to hang with. Bye, guys. I really miss being in Bordeaux. And there's the wine we'll be tasting, a beautiful Merlot.
This is truly exciting. I can't believe there's one of those that are actually Hong Kong related.
Yeah, it's really cool.
That's awesome.
And I wanted to say why I picked New Bordeaux. The Wine & Dine said I could do anything I wanted, but I thought Bordeaux is important because Hong Kong's so important to Bordeaux. We're actually the #1 export market for Bordeaux in the world, ahead of China, of the United States, the United Kingdom. It's been like that for about 5 or 6 years. We know we really have a tradition here, but a lot of times I think here in Hong Kong we spend a lot of time just focusing on the big names. And I wanted to get the new cool things being made with small producers, new people, young generation. And I think it's important for us in Hong Kong because we have such a dynamic food and wine culture here. Amazing food. You can eat Chinese, Korean, Japanese, Cantonese, European, American, whatever, any night of the week. And it's so exciting. But we need to have more dynamic wines as well from Bordeaux. And I can tell you that the new consumer, younger consumer in in Hong Kong, really love different wines from around the world. And I want them to think about Bordeaux as well. As much as I love Australia, California, South America, there's some cool things going on now. And these are a very, very good example. So the first wine we have is the Le Blanc de Suduiraut.
All right, let's see if everybody has your first wine ready in hand. Yes.
Let me just give you a couple quick tips.
Yes.
So like any wine, it doesn't matter if it's red, rosé, or white like this wine, take a look at the color. That's really important first thing. Don't go like this. That means you don't know anything about wine.
I've seen so many people do this under a light.
But you can't really see the color if you're looking in the air. It's better to look on something white, or it doesn't matter, even black. You can see the color better. Then swirl it around to get some air. Beautiful smell.
Yes.
And then you can do it like this too. This is sort of the cheat. It's also good if you had a few too many already.
Right, and you want to pretend like you're still okay, ready to go strong.
Then taste.
How does it taste on the nose, everybody? How does it smell like, everyone joining us on the online class? You liking it so far?
And then just think of the fruit. I'll come back and describe it later. But we wanted to see a few photos. I think it's always important to have an idea of where the wine's coming from. And it's nice. Look at this. That's Chateau Suduiraut, built in the mid-1800s. Look at the beautiful vineyards and the just regal chateau. Now you'll see the vineyards. Look at the colors, so beautiful. That's in October with some nice fog in the morning. I would just love to walk through there. Just think about it while you're tasting this wine. Those are vats where they ferment the grapes. And finally, you have some barrels. This wine only has about 20% barrels, so you won't have a lot of vanilla character, but you're just getting a little bit of that you'll see when you taste the wine. So let's actually taste the wine.
Yes.
Sean's going to translate into Cantonese. My Cantonese is definitely not up to speed.
After 8 years in Hong Kong.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm still trying to learn Korean. My wife's Korean.
I see. All right, we're also going to come to our online friends to see what they think of the first wine. I think maybe let's come to Kent. Kent Chung, how are you feeling? If you could unmute yourself, then we'll be able to hear your feedback here in the studio as well. Hi, Kent.
Hi.
Hi, what do you think of the first one?
I think it's quite nice. It's very aromatic and the taste dry for me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's good. I like that you say that, and it's dry and crisp. That means it really makes you want to come back and drink the wine, taste it. Drinkability is really important. And also, don't get too hung up on saying, oh, it's apples, oh, it's lemons. Everyone has different ideas about what they smell like. That's just for you and what they taste like. Just see if you like it.
What does it taste like for you or smell
For me,
like?
and I love the lemons and apples and pears, maybe some persimmon and a little bit of spices.
咁呢個可以聞到啦，佢有個蘋果啊、lemon 啊，少少 refreshing 嘅 wine 啦。咁呢一款同白酒咧，其實都會係嚟自甜酒區嘅一個幫白酒嚟嘅。
And I like the texture. Wine has texture. Think about texture. Creamy, nice little density, and then fresh at the end.
Yes.
It really makes you want to drink it.
咁呢個咧都會有個口感係一個 creamy 嘅一個口感，有少少忌廉嘅味道。
Yeah, Carrie seems to be enjoying yourself too. Let's come to Carrie now and see what you think. Hi, Carrie. Could you unmute yourself and tell us your thoughts?
Hi,
Hey.
I like this because I think it's very freshening, like very fresh when I smell it. So it kind of like attractive when I smell it, and I
That's
want to
good.
drink it.
And I like what you say because when you smell something, it should be reaffirmed on your palate. So smelling first is really important. Then you taste it and you get the same character. So nicely said. So guys, let's move on to the rosé now.
All right.
Sean's gonna pour it. He's using a Corvan, which is a pretty cool thing that you can pour wine and then keep it afterwards, so you don't have to drink the whole bottle. So that's good. So here's yours.
Thank you very much.
And really, really beautiful color right off the bat. And I think that I want to show you the Chateau first, so you could just really be in context right away of where you are from this very special wine. Look at that. That Chateau Giscourt in the appellation of Margaux. It's really well known for making age-worthy wines. Collectors in Hong Kong really enjoy this wine, but a lot of people don't know. It just started making this fabulous rosé that really reminds me even of wines from the Côte de Provence in France, which I believe make the best rosés in the world. And what I like about it is, right away, take a look at the color. Really, really light,
Yes.
pink color, and that's important. You know it's going to be delicious and really elegant. Let's smell it.
Okay.
And I'm getting maybe some light cherries and currants and some mineral and citrus.
咁都會聞到一啲類似 citrus 嘅一個 cherry 嘅味道啦。咁其實呢一款咧就會係一個喺波都嘅紅酒啦，但係會做一個粉紅酒嘅形式嚟嘅。咁佢個顏色都會非常之拼粉紅嘅顏色嚟嘅。
Maybe even some salt. And now let's taste it.
All right. Cheers, everybody. Cheers.
Cheers.
Really good fruit and the spicy. You get the Cabernet character of a little bit of currants, cherries, maybe a little tiny bit of fresh herbs as well. Do you get that, Sean?
Yes.
I get it. I think Dennis is also feeling it quite a lot too. Let's come to Dennis and see what you think about the
Dennis.
second one. What do you think of the rosé, Dennis? If you could unmute yourself, we'll be able to hear you in the studio.
Yeah. I like it. For me, the acidity is quite high, and I think the weight is heavier than the color. When I have it in my mouth, it's a bit not sweet, but very well developed. A lot of minerals and crushed rock. Like
Nice.
Very fresh, refreshing.
I like that you say that because actually there's stones in the vineyards of Giscourt. So it sort of has a riverbed terroir where the vines are, and there's big stones like round stones like that, and you get this stony character in the wine, a minerality. Wow. And I think that's important in a fresh and beautiful rosé, where you're getting this fruit, like you said, there's a good density of fruit, but then that acidity at the end, and this minerality. And that's really, really important in a rosé. And it's almost like savory. And that saltiness, again, it makes you want to drink it again. In fact, that's what I'm going to do.
That's fantastic. Let's also come to Erica. Erica, how are you? Do you like your rosé?
Hi. Yeah, I really like it. I think the citrus note, it's just beautiful.
Yeah, and it's such a diverse, it works with everything, this wine. with our food here in Hong Kong, we have so many dishes at the same time.
Yeah.
It's really crazy. And this is a wine you can just drink the whole evening and really enjoy it.
Yeah.
You can have it as an aperitif just to hang with your friends at the beginning. You have it with your food. It could be fish, meat, vegetables, spicy. This works great with spicy. And then when the meal's over, just keep on going and enjoying it.
Fantastic.
And that's what I really like about it. And they only started making it this year.
Oh.
So it's really something new and to look forward to. And I hope that more Bordeaux make these wines.
Fantastic. Louis, let's also come to you. Hi, Louis. How are you enjoying your first 2 wines?
I think the taste is really good, and for the rosé, I like the color. The color is really charming, and the smell of the mud for me is more like when I walk down a path in spring, and then can smell of all those fresh mud and together.
Wow.
And I do agree that it goes along with many kind of foods, and even if it's so strong, like it goes with lamb or something like that, I think I'm going to taste it again.
That's a good call. I would love to have it with lamb.
Yes.
And a lot of times we don't have it with meat, rosés. Well, oh no, we have to have red. But I like here in Hong Kong, I find that we're much more open for that, and we'll have whites, reds, rosés, because you have so many dishes going around, and it's
Family
fun.
style anyway.
Yeah, and it's fun to really try that.
Yeah.
To try different wines at the same time, just like we're doing now. In fact, I'm getting hungry tasting this.
Let's get some lamb
this
later.
Yeah, lamb is such an awesome idea.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so let's move on to the red now. And by the way, no rules. One of my things that I like to say about drinking wine, that there's no rules. Really, we have to set our own rules and really drink wines that we enjoy, and drink the wines how we enjoy it. So,
Thank you, Sean.
sorry. So here's the red.
All
Let's
right.
take a look at the color again. It's a 2019, so it's very young, but that's why it's made in amphora, and it's made to emphasize the freshness of the new vintage. 19, by the way, was a fantastic year in Bordeaux for everything, like we've seen. But let's smell it.
Okay.
Lots of mineral, maybe some crushed stones, some bark, some currants. I really like it. And it just pops out of the glass, the freshness. Again, let's look at, before we taste it, let's look at the Chateau to get an idea again, just like we were there, what it's like. And it's a very simple Chateau in Chateau's terms. Look at the beautifully tended vineyards. It really looks like a golf course. They just keep it perfect. Now we see an amphora. This is key to this wine. No wood.
Wow.
It's made in these ceramic vats that emphasize fruit. Also, they don't have to use a lot of sulfur. So this is almost a natural wine with no sulfur or very little. And it's going to emphasize the fruit in the wine rather than the harsh tannins, which have to be changed and softened while in wood. So I think you're going to see some really nice fruit, and that's really important in this new style of Bordeaux. And now you see Howard. Howard used to be a young banker in San Francisco, and now he's spending most of his time in Bordeaux running his family's estates. And finally, his father, who speaks perfect French, and he has a number of chateaux in Bordeaux, and really he just is so visionary in making a wine off the charts like this. And look at the bottle. Notice that the bottle is a Burgundy bottle.
Yes.
Normally Bordeaux bottles are upright, and this is already saying something that, hey, we're different. This is not normal Bordeaux. This is a wine emphasizing something different. And they like to say that it's emphasizing the terroir, not any makeup, not any wood, just emphasizing the goodness of the grapes that were picked and then made in amphora. And I think we really got it, at least I have to taste it. I haven't tasted it yet.
All right, everybody, cheers again.
Cheers, guys.
This is our third wine from the tasting kit.
And right away, lots of fruit.
Oh, yes.
Isn't it? It's fruity, but then it's nicely framed by acidity and tannin. So it's not a fruit bomb at all. It's just so much intense fruity character.
Yes.
咁呢一款紅酒啦，我哋都會有別於其他嘅一個 wine 啦。咁係一個用陶瓷桶去一個釀製嘅，咁都會係俾你可以有一個新鮮去飲用呢個紅酒啦。亦都你會見到特別佢個成個樽都會有別於成個都唔同，佢會用咗 Burgundy 嘅手樽嘅。
And I think it's really interesting to taste it a little bit cooler than maybe you might expect for a red wine. I would think around 18 or 17 centigrade. And I think it emphasizes the fruit and gives it a little bit more form. And I think that that's really nice in this wine. Also, it's very versatile. With that acidity and fruit, you can have it with fish, you can have it with white meats, you can have it with anything.
Yeah.
And that's the versatility of New Bordeaux.
Fantastic.
And it's made mostly of Merlot, so a little bit less tannin. Cabernet Sauvignon and Cabernet Franc normally have more tannins. So again, emphasizing fruit, and also their limestone chalky soil gives it this almost chalky character.
Amazing. Let's come to Cecilia now. Cecilia, hi, how are you? Are you a fan of the third wine? If you could unmute yourself, then we'll be able to hear you here in the studio.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Hey.
Hi. I like to drink the wine is very much, especially for the rosé. But I just would like to know how's the difference the red come from ceramic or the wood. How's the difference and how could I know which year is the best one?
Okay, so the ceramic really emphasizes the fruit, and when it's aged in wood, it might has a little bit more tannin. You know when you brew tea for too long and it gets sort of chewy, you're like,
Yeah.
well, that's normally coming from the skin of the grapes, but also can come from the tannins. And you see this wine is really more about fruit and fruitiness, and I think amphora does that. A number of producers are using amphora in Bordeaux, but it's becoming more popular in the world now. It actually began in Georgia. But I think that you can tell mostly from the fruit. And then as far as, you know, the years, you can tell this is a very young wine because of that dark color. And a lot of times, particularly expensive Bordeaux, well, most of the 2019s are still aging in barrel right now, or they were just recently bottled, and they won't actually be out for quite a while. The 2018s are coming out right now, and will continue to do so for the next 6 months. But the top estates, like First Growths or other top ones, won't be released until January. But this is a good example of a new young Bordeaux, and it's really fun to try it now. It's probably the first 19 I've had from bottle, and I'm sure for most of you.
We're so lucky to have a first taste of that. And then next up, let's come to Irene and Brian. Hi, Irene and Brian. Are you enjoying your virtual date with us?
Hey.
Hi.
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 I love the wine, and I think it's a little bit surprised me because given that it's a 2019 Bordeaux wine, it still gives me some a smooth taste. And I have a question. Is it better to drink it next year because I still taste a little bit harsh in the aftertaste?
Yeah, so I like to drink wines in their evolution. So I think, like right now, you're right. There's a tiny bit of tannins where it's a little bit chewy. It'll be better probably in the spring where it softens a little bit. But I like to see where it is now, then see where it is in 6 months, then maybe see where it is in 2 years. I really think that particularly with wines that age, or really Bordeaux, that's how I learned from my father, and it's really connoisseurship of wine, where if you get a couple bottles of wine, you try it when it's young and you say, yeah, you know, it's exactly what you said. It's a little bit tannic. I think it'll be better in a year. And then you try it in a year, and that's really funny. You say, you know what? I was right. Or you say, you know what? I want to leave it again for another year. And that's really, like I said, connoisseurship, enjoying wine, thinking about wine. I've done that my whole life, and that's what's so much fun about it. It's such a journey, and we're having this conversation about, you know, when to drink it, and yeah, I like this, I found that. I think with wine, there's no wrong answer. You know, everyone has an opinion on wine, just like we have an opinion on food, and there's really no wrong opinions. You know, it's everyone's has an idea about it, and that's fun. I enjoy the conversation. It's part of wine being together and having that conversation.
Amazing. Let's come back in a year or back in spring
Yeah.
and see how it tastes back then. So once again, thank you, James and Sean, for your amazing insights and introducing us to New Wave Bordeaux. Now, just a warm reminder, if anybody would still like to order a tasting kit, please visit the following website, masterclasses.discoverhongkong.com. Do purchase now while stocks last. Meanwhile, I'm sure a lot of you would have more questions for James. So please, if you have a question, go ahead and raise your hand and we can turn your mic on and you'll be able to speak to James directly. Does anybody have a question for James? Oh, Ken Wong, go ahead. We're going to have that unmute button ready for you now.
Hi, James.
Hey, Ken.
Hi. As you just said, because this wine is pretty young, and if we let it breathe for a longer while, because we just opened it like 10 minutes before this class, if we let it breathe for a longer while, would you expect, you know, the taste would evolve to something different, or a bit more smoother and less tannin, something like that?
That's a very good question. In fact, that's exactly what will happen to the wine as it gets a little bit warmer and the air mingles with the elements of the wine, like phenolics, that's the tannin. It'll become softer. In fact, one thing you could do, and this works with any red wine, sometimes when you say, oh, that's a bit harsh, you can actually decant it right away into a decanter, and it gives air right away, and it'll soften the wine. I often do that with young wines. With old wines, you decant just to take it off the sediment, the deposit from the phenolics at the bottom of the bottle. But in young wines, I like to decant, or you leave it in the glass, or you could use a bigger glass as well. Sometimes you can even go back and forth like this to give it air. But the bottom line is that aeration changes the tannins and softens the tannins. The oxygen links with the polyphenolic compounds in the wine. That's the science. But in the end, it tastes softer. So good question. I like it really fresh like this, but you're right, it'll be different in a bigger glass and slightly with more aeration.
Fantastic. We do know that we have plenty of questions coming from the chat box as well. So now let's come to one of them. One of the questions is, how long do you sell a Bordeaux wine, James?
Okay, well, that's really a big question because Bordeaux, I've had wines that are over 150 years old, even older. And so you can age Bordeaux's. I just had a bottle of 1961 Latour with a friend in Hong Kong. Luckily, I have a nice friend with an incredible cellar. Dude, I don't have 61s in my cellar, but it was perfect. So they age incredibly well. But I think it's a question of the reputation of the Chateau, the history, and also the price. These wines that aren't expensive don't age really more than like 10, 20 years. That's why you're paying a lot of money for these classic big name Chateau, and they have the history. You know, they're in the cellars of the wineries, those famous names. And, you know, things like 82, there's lots of 82s in Hong Kong. We were big buyers of 1982. And those are drinking beautifully still. The Jore 89s, 90s, 95s, so many beautiful wines now with age. In Bordeaux, it's all about ageability and history.
Fantastic. I'm sure you have lots more questions for James. If you're in the masterclass, do stay with us. We have a little bit extra time for you after the class finishes. But once again, thank you, James, and to Sean for sharing your amazing insights with us and introducing us to New Wave Bordeaux. To celebrate such an incredible moment, let's propose a toast, shall we? You can go ahead and choose your favorite out of the three from our tasting kit today. I'm going to go with Hong Kong's pride right here. And let's say a big cheers to all of our online friends and to everybody joining us here online as well. 3, 2, 1. Cheers, everyone. Cheers. Yes. Cheers. Let's also go ahead and make a selfie to really capture this moment, if that's okay. Now go ahead, everybody, enjoy your wine while I get my camera ready. You can go ahead and raise your glasses in front of the camera. And then we're going to take a photo right here. Ready, Sean? Join us over here. And 1, 2, 3, cheers. Cheers. Yay. Thank you so much. much for joining us. And don't forget, later on at 3:50, we have another very special speaker. Deborah Myberg, Master of Wine, will be joining the class with us with the theme of the Pacific West. For those who have already signed up for the class, please get your tasting kits ready, and we will see you right here back at the Hong Kong Wine and Dine Festival 2020. Enjoy your lovely afternoon.
Cheers, everyone.
香港美酒佳肴巡禮網上大師班，美酒佳話將會率先呈現星級登場同非凡名廚、非凡絕配。世界級酒評家 James Suckling 將會同大家品味波爾多新風。葡萄酒大師 Deborah 帶嚟美國西部莊園佳釀。點解意大利釀造嘅酒會有香港風情？酒評人 Ronnie 會話俾大家知。3屆香港品酒師比賽冠軍 Eric Kwok 會傳授開 party 嘅美酒佳肴絕配。Ivan Sir 將會撮合日本清酒同東南亞美食，呢次邂逅絕對令你回味無窮。識飲都要識酒品同識配搭，品酒師 Damon 唔識教到你識。Stephen Sir 帶路去西班牙必去酒莊，同教你調製 Sangria 水果酒。大家仲可以同呢班大師即場品酒，即時互動。一個網睇晒直播同點播，完全免費。
Cheers!